All right, guys. If anyone's listening to this, we need sponsors. I can't feed my kids.
Oh, shit.
I've been eating water for the past 3 weeks. We don't have any food in our fridge. Please help us.
The 1%. Really? That was your sick intro?
Yeah, that's my intro.
Wow. Okay, so today we're talking about the Facebook data scandal that happened. And he told me he had a really good joke for the podcast.
Okay. To be fair, I didn't say the word joke.
What'd you say then?
I said I have a good intro.
Okay. Well, I fed him a glass of glass.
A glass of ice?
Because I asked him if he wanted water or ice, and he said ice, so that's not my problem.
I mean, I'm fine with a glass of ice.
Okay,
That's what I asked for.
You eat your ice. I don't care
All
about
right.
your kids. You can give them ice too. Okay, so there was a really good show on Netflix. It's called The Great Hack. I watched it like a few weeks ago. You just watched it today, and isn't it freaking amazing?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. All that happened without anyone really noticing up until it was all over, all done, right? So yeah, it's very scary.
And like I watch documentaries like every so often if there's a good one on Netflix, and like every year there's that amazing documentary that I like that's definitely worth having a podcast about. So we're gonna talk a lot about it. So the most recognizable thing I remember from this is when Mark Zuckerberg was in court, and I was like checking their stocks, and Facebook was down like 50-60%, like crazy. And everyone's data got leaked pretty much. Just to sum it up really quickly.
Well, not everyone, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like a good portion of the users got affected by this. I mean, it's not really. It is kind of a leak, but it isn't really a leak. It's just some clever, very clever.
Yeah.
Social engineering mixed in with some kind of weak policies on Facebook's side. It kind of is a leak.
Yeah, so it's like really interesting. There's like the social aspect of like societies that I like.
Yeah.
There's the data side from tech companies.
Yeah.
There's politics that I couldn't care less about, but I mean it links everything together, so it's gonna be really sick. The quote that I was watching this with the girl, and I stopped the movie. I went upstairs to get my journal, and I wrote down this quote. It said, "Last year, data surpassed oil in its value." And I just find that amazing because I know how powerful data is. I took a class on databases, and just the fact that oil is probably the biggest industry in the world, or like
one of the biggest. Yeah.
You think of like the biggest industries. Everyone has cars these days.
Yeah,
like
makes the world go round for sure. But it's crazy to think that now something that's really is intangible, really, it's just is worth that much compared to oil and everything it can do for us. It's
information
crazy.
Which people get for free is now worth more than what drives our cars around all over the world. I just thought that was like mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing.
I had to sleep on it. So they were saying like the greatest companies, or some of the people from the movie, they were saying it was like Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Tesla, because they're probably the companies with the most data.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with it. And it's like some of my favorite companies to invest in, and the companies I see the most future. So I was really proud about that too.
Data is very powerful. Depending what data you have, you can do a lot of damage with
it. Just depends
data.
On their intentions.
Yeah, exactly. Depends on what you do with it. Yeah.
It's crazy how much you can do. So pretty much we'll like go over like the points that the documentary went over. I really highly recommend you guys watching it because it was awesome. But
it's called The Great Hack.
Great Hack.
Netflix original.
Second sponsor of the day.
What? Second sponsor.
Great Hack on Netflix. Go check it out. It's probably still gonna be up there for a while, but
if it's a Netflix original, it's going to be there forever, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. They don't have to pay licensing fees,
as
long as they can run it on their servers.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, pretty much starting off, it was the Cambridge Analytica is a company where is it? In UK? Or in Europe somewhere?
I think UK. Actually, no, they had offices in the United States, I think.
Okay, so it was a company that, what did they do? they get people's information. Is that what was their purpose?
They claim to be able to manipulate information data to assist in targeting specific audiences.
Okay.
But like that's what I might not be explaining it right, but that's what their website that was saying. That's what their promotional material was saying. Is just that they were experts at kind of getting the attention of the audience, of an audience.
That's
the
interesting.
Type of audience.
That's how they marketed themselves. They said we can use people's information and change them.
They didn't say that. They said they could use people's information to target them.
To influence them.
To influence them.
Okay, so they're not only for politics, not only for elections, but that's one of their one of the things they can do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. So in the documentary, they say the company has 5,000 data points on every American.
Yeah. Is it 5,000?
5,000 it said.
Wow.
That's
a
crazy.
Lot of
if I meet someone new, you ask them like 15 things about themselves, and they have 5,000 things about you. Like that's a crazy ton. You can't remember 5,000 things you did with someone.
Yeah, actually, if someone asked me to say 5,000 things about me, I don't think I'd be able to. Like that's a lot of data to.
They know you better than
up.
yourself, just because they can like write it down in memory or something, store it somewhere.
Yeah.
But 5,000, even if it's little things, it all adds up.
Yeah.
And from all this, so how they explain it, with all this data, they were able to kind of guess your personality, the kind of person you are, what you do. And with the personality, they guess your behavior, right?
Yeah, so what I understood is they made a kind of a profile of your personality.
Yeah.
And they try to predict how you would react to specific articles, events, anything that they can present to you. They try to guess what that person how they will see it. Yeah.
I find that super interesting because it's pretty much writing algorithms. It's some sort of code that measures the output of every single thing they check, right? On someone.
It's algorithms and statistics.
And how they're linked to their friends, how it impacts them and stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's impressive actually.
Really impressive. So they're able to try to guess the personality of every American.
Yeah.
Like that they can target. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And there's a really good quote that said, "It's personality that drives behavior, and behavior obviously influences how you vote."
Yeah, of course.
It makes so much sense though.
Yeah.
And like they executed it so well for the election.
So it worked perfectly, right? as far as we know, and as far like if you watch the documentary. Can I say that word or not?
We're French, that's why.
Wow. If you watch that on Netflix.
Watch that.
Yeah, but if you watch it and you'll see that what Cambridge Analytica did with that data seems to have worked extremely well. Like it seems to have made a very, very big difference in the election.
And this was the 2016 election. That's when Trump became president.
Yeah.
And that was a huge deal worldwide for like 6 months.
Yeah, whoever leads the United States ends up becoming a worldwide event, right? It affects a lot of people.
Especially the 20th century was like the century for America. Now it's shifting more towards China. But
that's right.
But United States is super well known around the world. Like that makes sense. So it was about the 2016 elections. And clearly it worked. If Trump got elected, and I hear so much more bad news than good news. I don't know anything about politics, but I hear that people hate Trump.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I don't know much about politics, especially not like American politics, right? Being Canadian. But most public figures talk about Trump in a negative way, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people that... these public figures that I respect rarely have anything good to say about how Trump acts, the way he leads the United States. So I find it like a lot of people throughout the world, I find it difficult to wrap my head around how he actually got elected.
So you talk about celebrities that you like?
Yeah, celebrities or
news sources, everything media.
Anyone that can, that we see through the media, right? As most of those people, they don't have a good kind of vision of what Trump is doing.
And it's crazy. Like, most people seem to be against it. I don't even know what he was like leading. He said make America great again, but he wanted to build a wall, right? I have no idea what else he wanted to do.
Yeah, I didn't follow that really.
Yeah,
I mean, it's to some degree, it's not like we have any control over it, right?
Yeah, true.
We're in Canada. Yeah. We can't vote in these elections. We just kind of have to sit and watch. So I didn't really follow all that much what Trump was promising. So it just kind of happened, and we're kind of dealing with the consequences of that right now.
Yeah, but it happened. Apparently, Russia was really involved. What was the deal? What was the thing with?
They didn't talk about that a lot in the document.
Okay.
God damn it.
Documentary.
In the show. Documentary?
The show. Okay, the show.
Yeah, they did. They it wasn't explored very much, so I'm not really sure what happened. But I've heard a lot of news articles about that. I'm not sure how they affected. They for sure published some news articles. Like they paid advertisers to advertisement companies to show these kind of manipulated news articles to help Trump win the election. But that's all I know.
So you were talking like about how successful they were in the United States. So how it works, from how I remember, there's some states that have a bigger impact on America. So they have more seats in the White House or whatever. Yeah. They have more power than other states. So not only did they target the states that they could change, so there's probably like states like Texas, which are like way more pro-Trump, and then some other states way more Clinton or whatever. They targeted the ones that were really close to being either one side or the other. Yeah. So the ones that were targetable and they could change their mind. Yeah. And not only did they target the right states, but they targeted the people that they could influence the easiest. Yeah. So they call
those swing states, where between each election there's no clear, well, I mean there are some trends, but I mean they're not one-sided. Like you said, Texas historically seems to be one-sided. Yeah. But there's a lot of these states that can be influenced one side or the other depending on how the ideas that the candidates are presenting, right? Yeah. So they, like you said, they effectively targeted those, and not only that, but they targeted also the people that they identified as being. They had a word for these people, like the influenceables or something like that.
Influenceables.
Yeah. So they targeted those as well. So they really did their research and pinpointed exactly the variables that they could manipulate to win that election.
They were called the persuadables.
Persuadables, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Not only the right states, but the right people. And then if they target the person, their friend groups, all their surrounding, like it makes sense. It's so easy to change someone's opinion on something. Yeah. And they executed it perfectly. Yeah.
Facebook is a great platform for that, and I mean they're not the only one, right? Like the only platform that can be used to that extent.
Yeah, they were using everything
they can.
They said in the show, we bombarded them throughout blogs, websites, articles, videos, ads, every platform you can imagine. Yeah. Until they saw the world the way we wanted them to, until they voted for our candidate. Yeah. That's so strong.
That's scary, actually. That they can actually shape, in a way, the world, or the way those people see the world, which is very dangerous.
Just from advertisements online. Yeah. That's where we are in 2019.
Just with social media and advertisements and
That's insane. Yeah. That's how powerful data media is these days.
But that's why people are scared of this, right?
Yeah, and they use Facebook, so Facebook's free to join. It's probably the biggest platform, I think, in the world.
Yeah, social media-wise, I think so. It is
they
the
have
biggest.
2-3 billion users, I don't know, something like that. And how they did this is that they gave a survey to a few people on Facebook, the ones they could persuade, right? Yeah. And people, when they fill in the survey, they accept to giving this company, Cambridge Analytica, all their information on Facebook. Right?
It's a little more sly than that. Like, they were very smart about it. They had these personality quizzes.
Oh, right. Yes.
And to do those quizzes, you had to give access to your Facebook account. Like, they used your name or your picture or whatever. But once you accept, God damn, I can't. I can't talk today.
Accept.
Once you accept the like, you give them access to your information, they actually pick a lot more than what you think they're picking from.
Yeah.
Right. And there was some hidden away in the fine print of these quizzes were once you gave them access to your information, they actually handed that over to Cambridge Analytica. I don't know if Cambridge Analytica actually created those quizzes or if they only used quiz from other I don't know, creators, if they made deals with them to collect the data afterwards. But that information actually ended up in the hands of Cambridge Analytica without the user actually knowing, because no one reads the fine print, right?
And then they could access like a lot of information about you. They could also target your friends, so they can see who you're friends with. Yeah. And then like once you know a lot about a person, you know their networks, their friends, you can start to like attack another friend, and then you know like way more information, and it kind of just grows into a web where you know everything about like everyone, or a lot of information. And then obviously if you target one person, they're more likely to target their friends. It's like a giant network that they can target, and that's what they did, right? And it works.
And created a web of people.
It's insane. And it seems to have like changed the elections, which is a huge deal. And
I don't know I don't remember who said that exactly, but one of the persons in the documentary. That wasn't right. Yeah, that was it. One of the ladies said that we'll probably never have an impartial election ever again, right? There's always going to be ways to unethically influence groups of people now that these social medias are so take up so much of our lives now.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad that they were able to do it with like a small team of people. It's just so unethical. Yeah. And we know like it's gonna probably happen again. Yeah. Because it depends people's intentions. Like it's kind of sad. You just get a few data scientists, you call them devs.
Yeah, I mean,
work on a low problem. Yeah. Make a company millions, billions. I don't know how much money you make. So you were struggling with words. You want another tongue twister?
Sure. Are you just going to laugh at me? Or
yes, let's laugh.
Which one am I doing?
The first one.
The first one? Oh, God.
I've never heard of it.
Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will make my batter better. So 'twas better Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter.
Wow, that was so good.
That's not bad, actually.
Okay, you ready for the podcast now?
Okay, yeah.
Should I read one?
Sure. Yeah.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
You got the easiest one.
Which one do you want me to read?
Hold on. Oh, no, you guys already did that Fuzzy Wuzzy one, right?
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Okay, I'll do Eddie.
Do the Susie one, number 8.
Susie works in a shoe shine shop where she shines the sits, and where she sits, she shines.
All right.
That's intense.
Okay, passing grade, but
I feel like after you finish high school, you should start reading these, and it probably helps with English or something.
Helps with pronunciation.
Exactly.
Pronunciation.
We really so it's funny how like Cambridge Analytica, they were described as a full-service propaganda machine. Yeah. It's not only a company that does advertising. It's not an advertising company. They're described as a propaganda machine. And I find that really extreme because from what I know, propaganda is what they use in World War I and II to get kids to go into the war, or teenagers, adults.
Anyone,
And like the fact that they call it propaganda and not advertising, I find that's huge.
Yeah. Propaganda is kind of this negative term to describe exactly what they were doing, right? Yeah. They were really manipulating other people for their own benefits, their own intentions. Like that ethical line, I think they crossed it for sure by a lot.
Yeah. And I think most people, so we had a big debate, like if someone has all your information, it's not the end of your world. I find people worry a lot about data. So what can they do with it? Right now, all I know they're doing is they're targeting ads that you're more likely to buy. Stuff like that. You're getting ads more specific to you. But they're not taking over our lives.
Yeah, no, it's a
They're not getting us in jail and stuff like that. They're not costing us more money unless you spend more because of the ads.
Yeah, it's a difficult subject to explain because it's not a lot of this stuff is tangible, right? It's all...
Yeah.
It's intangible data, but that can have a really, really a real effect on your life. And it's very difficult to see the actual importance of privacy and protecting your data. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel... And people worry about it, I think, because in the future... Like, if they're starting to target stuff about this in the future, what if they make new copies of you and stuff like that, new personalities? Is that why people are scared, kind of?
More or less. I mean, I think one of the biggest things is, I think we said that earlier, but data is power, right? If you have data on someone, you can have a very, very good or bad effect, a very, very real effect on their life. You can control parts of their life. Example, if you have some personal information like a date of birth, a phone number, an address, an age, or whatever, you can easily impersonate that person for whatever ends you might think of. If you have other information on the lifestyle of that person, you can, like Cambridge Analytica did, you can manipulate the kinds of content that they see throughout social media.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of this stuff that people don't realize companies can do with their data, and that can affect them negatively if it ends up in the wrong hands or in the hands of a person with the wrong intentions.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel like it's on the back end. So when you make a Facebook account, to you it's free. You're not paying money.
Yeah. But that's
in the front end, it's free.
That's the trick, though.
Yeah.
If the service is free, then you're the product, right?
Exactly.
I don't know how many people said that. Yeah.
So many times these days you hear that.
Yeah.
If it's free, you're paying it in other ways. It's usually in your data. Because no company is going to work for free. If they're that big, obviously they need money to operate.
Yeah.
So they were pretty much getting your information. They were building your psychological profile for everyone they had the information to. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And if we talk more about privacy, so I think Apple's the company that focuses on privacy the most.
Yeah, I think so. And they're a pioneer in some way of pushing for better privacy throughout technology as a whole, right? Yeah. They're almost always the first one that they make the first move most of the time, right? Yeah. Like all this, a lot of the data on their server, they can't even access themselves, right? It's all encrypted.
True.
And even there was some cases in history. If you go back through the news and there's some cases in the U.S. where there was a crime and there was an iPhone that ended up as a piece of evidence in court, and Apple couldn't even open it or unlock it for the law enforcement.
Is that what it was? I thought it was they followed their procedures, so they say we don't open anyone's information. Is it that they couldn't?
I think it's both. So I think their policy is to not reveal anyone's information no matter what, which is very important.
Yeah.
Every company should be like that, right? But there's also, I don't remember if it was exactly the phone, but I do remember that at some points during some criminal investigations, Apple had access to the data, but they couldn't decipher it.
Yeah,
like it was encrypted one way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's literally nothing you can do about that.
If it's
encrypted, if Apple can't access it, the government won't be able to access it.
No. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's how it should be, but that's a lot of work, right? Of extra work for companies to add all these encryption measures and have it work seamlessly for users.
And that's why Apple products and everything, there's always more expensive. If you get a watch, a laptop, a phone, they're always maybe double the price or
they're double their price, but they're doing some good work on the privacy side. Much better than most other companies.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's really crazy that the trial, Apple had more power than the government in that trial. That makes me kind of happy. Yeah. And then there's other big companies. So let's say Facebook and Google. I saw a post somewhere. So Facebook pretty much sells all your information. Is that how their business works, Facebook?
I mean, that's how they became a big company, right?
The most money, right?
Yeah.
Probably. They sell your information.
Well, they use their the information to their advantage for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where their profit comes from. Either by directly selling the data or indirectly using it. I'm not exactly sure, but they profit from your data 100%.
Yeah, they probably run ads too.
Yeah, like targeted ads for sure.
They probably make money from that, from having your data for that and stuff. So the video I saw was saying that Google is kind of in the middle. It's not as bad as Facebook, but it's definitely nowhere as an Apple. So they probably have some restrictions, but
they do, and they've gotten a lot better, I think, in the last year or two.
Okay, that's good.
After seeing what Apple was doing, they kind of reacted to that. As far as from what I can see, as Apple announced all these privacy measures that they were going to take, that they were going to implement in their device, and Google kind of reacted to that.
What's some of those privacy devices? So is it like Face ID or stuff like that?
Apple is very strong on encryption, like end-to-end encryption of data, and they're very strong also on preventing any sort of tracking, right? So they have these techniques when you browse through the web where they kind of scramble the data and make it difficult for Google or any advertiser to track your habits and stuff like that. And once Apple started doing that, I don't quote me on this because I don't have any exact sources or data points, but Google kind of reacted to that and toned it down a little bit, like the amount of tracking they were doing and using to target these ads there. They give you a lot of options now to know what kind of data they have, how they're using it, and they also give you ways to delete this data now or
that's really interesting.
Take control of it.
Nice. Yeah. So for those who don't know, encrypting data is pretty much, so if you send if you have a paragraph, you're pretty much converting it in like a different language.
Yeah.
And then you're giving the user the converted version and the password are the trick to change it, right? Is that how you describe it?
Yeah.
You're changing it up and you're telling them how you changed it up.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So they need to have both to access your original message, and then it converts it back to the regular message.
Yeah, it's a kind of a complex mathematical problem, but yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty much what it is.
It's somewhat close. We're also both starting school.
We also don't know anything.
I mean, we started last week because we're uploading. We're recording this in the past.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's messed up, eh? So
how was your first week of school?
My first week was good, I guess. Yeah.
What'd you do?
I think I sat in class and listened to someone talking for a few hours.
Oh, the usual.
Oh yeah.
So it's your last year, right?
Last semester, yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What are some of your cool classes?
I have a class on my favorite class is a computer architecture class. And it's third.
Wait, you have that this semester?
Yeah.
I have a processor architecture too.
Yeah, but it's kind of a series of 3 courses with kind of another course in between. Actually, 2 other courses kind of related in between.
I see.
So we're gonna be pushing it pretty far.
Okay,
I think.
what's all your classes? I really want to know.
I have an introduction to AI course, which is kind of a
sick.
Yeah. It's a technical elective, and from what my buddy told me, they kind of created a sort of machine learning program with Python.
Oh my god.
They had kind of this algorithm. They had nodes, and I don't remember exactly what he told me, but it was pretty fascinating, and it took forever to compute on his computer. So I'm eager to try it on mine.
You'll have to teach me.
Yeah, for sure.
And we can talk about it next podcast. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
I'm really excited too. I have processor design. I have C language, which I don't know yet. I have web programming, and I have data structures. That's all gonna be really hype.
Yeah. Classic courses. I hope you like the C courses, because
I heard it's really hard.
the C is kind of driving everything low level now. Like your OS is written, big chunks of it in C. Like it's a very important language. Okay. It's not the easiest, but it's very, very important.
I have 2 friends that took it during the summer, and they both failed.
Oh so. Yeah, that happens. Depending how your prof teaches it, it can become a very difficult course.
All right.
Depending how far you push it.
I'll have to pay attention.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that was. Do you have anything else to say about the scandal?
Yeah. Fair disclaimer: don't quote me on anything that I said, because I kind of talk out of my bum all the time. So take it with a grain of salt. And documentary. Documentary.
Yes, that was it. Like, quick recap about the Facebook data scandal. It was Cambridge Analytica that pretty much had the wrong intentions. Like, their business model was kind of sketchy.
Yeah, from the start, it was a sketchy business model.
They pretty much manipulated people. They even said they didn't target everyone equally. So they manipulated people so they perceived life differently, and in results that made them vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Or different political parties.
It changed the world in a
pretty
pretty significant manner. Yeah.
It sounds like a joke, but I agree with you on that.
Yeah. I remember when Trump got elected, I had some. It doesn't even directly affect me in the short term, but I remember when he got elected, I had a course that morning, and I just stayed in bed. Yeah, I was not expecting that from the way he was presenting himself and his ideas beforehand, and
no one believed that it would happen.
Yeah, no,
I don't get it.
And again, I didn't follow much of the campaign, but
that's crazy. Yeah. The first people that fell asleep on this world, did they think they were dying?
Are you high or?
No, I just have weird thoughts when I'm alone.
I mean, if you're falling asleep, you don't have the time to think that you're dying.
Oh my god! So it's your brain that's falling asleep?
Yeah. Well, yes. Have you ever slept, or maybe it's time to try that?
It's not your other body parts. Oh, I guess that's true. I just imagine seeing my friend falling asleep.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Wait. They've probably seen someone sleeping before someone's dying, unless the person's dying on their first day alive.
In which really case, stupid. If it's your first day alive, your brain will have developed enough to understand that someone might be dying or sleeping. So
I don't know why I look so much into this. And when's the youngest memory that you actually remember? Because I saw somewhere it's impossible to remember events that happened before 3 years old. If you're an adult, not 2 years later, and I kind of agree, because I remember living in Quebec.
Yeah.
And I moved out when I was 8 years old. So I remember maybe 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
But I don't remember anything before.
Yeah, I think that's about the same range for me. Yeah. I have a very specific memory that I remember as being the earliest I can remember, and it's for sure isn't 3 years old.
It wasn't?
No.
It was past?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How, we were obviously conscious. Maybe the brain didn't develop the memory. Long-term memory or something.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. It doesn't form long-term memories at all.
That's so very
if it does, they're very, I guess, weak I don't know how to explain
I
this.
feel like it can't, but people tell you stories, so maybe you feel like you remember them.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot where
Yeah.
people tell you stuff that you did, like even as an adult,
Yeah.
stuff that I do that I don't remember. People tell me that I did
Yeah,
something
for sure.
or that we did something happened, and I kind of form the memory after the fact, right? Or
Yeah,
by
that
seeing a
sense.
picture or something like that.
But hell, that really sparked my interest. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was trying to beat it too. I was like, I bet I can remember something when I was young, and I just can't.
Yeah, no.
And like even the really like highs, like when I was younger, they were all like 6, 7. I remember nothing before, so
That
it's crazy.
happens.
So you know how there's candies that they give out at hotels and restaurants and stuff?
Yeah.
There's candies, they can be colored any color, right?
Yeah.
There's different colored
Yeah.
candy. Do they all taste the same?
God.
Like, you know, there's Smarties, like a bunch of different colors,
It
Skittles.
depends which ones, because there are for sure tasted like taking a handful and then they for sure taste differently. But
Oh.
sometimes it's for sure just food coloring because
Yeah,
they
'cause-
all taste that generic candy flavor.
Oh, so there's different types of candy, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was always the same.
No.
I thought I was like solving cancer if I figured out if they tasted
Why-
the same or not. I thought it was one of the big questions.
You think
we
the
had to
fact that
answer.
they taste the same causes cancer? Or?
No. I just that I thought there was a yes or no answer. I thought it was like implicit,
Oh, okay.
and I
Okay.
just had to find it out. And
So the answer is maybe. Is it both yes and no
and we didn't
at
solve
the same
anything.
time, like quantum?
Do you believe in superstitions? I was kind of reading about it.
Not really.
Like
I'm-
black cats are bad luck,
No.
walking on your ladder.
No.
So if there was a ladder, you'd walk under it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually do it because I do have once in a while. There's a person like in our group or whatever
Yeah,
that
but-
is superstitious, that believes in that, and I kind of go out of my way to
Yeah,
piss
I
them
feel
off
the
a
same.
bit.
To prove them that it doesn't exist, you do the opposite, and
Yeah.
clearly, if the ladder didn't fall on you, if your life's not messed up.
Yeah, no, I don't really believe in those, but they're still fun to.
Yeah, and like a lot of people believe in them. It's crazy. There's so many
Yeah.
superstitions, and I just find there's like no proof ever that if you walk under a ladder, you're gonna have bad luck.
No proof. Yeah.
So how do people start believing in that?
I think it has to do with
Is it related to religion?
not religion,
No?
but if you people are really good at recognizing patterns, right?
Yeah.
Like as a human being, we're exceptionally good at recognizing anything that has some consistency to it, right?
Oh, I
A
just
pattern.
read that in a book.
Yeah, so
Damn.
that's exactly why superstition exists, right?
Okay.
If someone realizes that every time you walk under a ladder or something bad happens,
Yeah.
they'll stop walking under the ladder, right? You notice
Oh.
a pattern there.
It's kind of evolution.
Yeah, so I think it's
Oh.
normal that we're superstitious like that, but once you start actually thinking about it in terms of actual physics and
Yeah.
the scientific proof that we have, it makes no sense. But
That's what I think about.
yeah,
It's like correlation versus causation.
Exactly.
Have you heard about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I took a machine learning class, and it was so correlation is one leads to the other, right?
no, they're related, but they're not. One
Oh,
is not
okay.
caused by the
So
other.
causation, if you have an apple tree, you have more apples in your backyard, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that is caused by the fact that you have an apple tree in
Yes.
your backyard.
Oh, cause I get it.
Yeah.
And then correlation is
They kind of
the
happen.
same thing happens, but they're
Yeah.
not related, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like if, for example, there's more babies that died this year, and the weather is colder, or I don't know. Something.
That would still be
Yeah, but-
causation in a way. I'm struggling to think of a good example here.
There's
But
examples like that pumpkin growth. Oh no, it's hard to find.
oh,
good
it's
examples.
an example where. Have you ever seen this meme where they say that Earth is the most dangerous planet in the galaxy?
No.
Well, they say that everyone on Earth, like Earth, has billions of deaths, right? Has caused billions of deaths, while the sun hasn't caused a single death, right? So it's something like that. Is depending on how you look at the data, the event that you're talking about isn't really caused by the other data point that you're looking at.
Yeah. So
but there is some relation, right? The fact that everyone died on Earth is not because the Earth is actually a more dangerous environment than the other planets.
Oh, that's really well explained. Right? Yeah.
But yeah.
So I pretty much call it just a coincidence. Isn't that what it is?
Almost? Not really.
Not quite? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was our podcast. Thanks for watching episode 7.
Thanks for watching with your ears.
The intro again.
No, I did the intro. It was impeccable.
Oh, true. It's really bad. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's called The 1%.
Google
19.
Plus.
Oh, I'm not on there yet.
No, it doesn't exist anymore.
At The 1% 19. Make sure you send your podcasts and I'll post them on Instagram.
Make sure to give your information to Cambridge Analytica.
Exactly, and we'll use it to run our ads.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Any shout outs you want to give?
I shout out to my mother.
Isn't it always your mother?
I think so, eh?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Okay, goodbye. Thanks for listening to The 1%.